All right, back again with another match review. This one is for the Ruger Max-9. Not a bad little gun. Let's take a look at some more stages. I'll come back with some up close and personal stuff with this and the bug box, because this is a bug gun, and then see some more stages, and we'll come back with some pros and cons at the end. All right, here we are looking over the top of the gun. As you can see, it fits in the bug box. It'll only fit in the bug box with the small base plate on the bottom, which isn't the end of the world. There is a little bit of room. I think so these sights are tall. I'm going to talk about this in the pros and cons section, but the sights are really tall. Maybe they're looking for suppressor height. I don't know. It's not a threaded barrel, but who knows? Maybe they've got one you can buy separately. But I think there's a little more room, so you could use this extra room down here. So replacement sights are a possibility. It will not fit in the bug box with this big magazine on, which stinks because you get a much better grip. But I think it won't fit with this base pad on it either. However, I think there's room to trim that down and get a little bit more grip. I don't really know if it would be all that helpful. But something that I thought was really interesting with the magazines, and pretty smart on Ruger's behalf, is that this magazine tube and this magazine tube are the same size. There's no size difference like there is with the P365. Let's get you a look at that. So there you go. As you can see, the magazine tubes are the same thing. There's no difference in the way the magazine tubes are designed. There's no longer one or shorter one like there is with the P365. They're the same tube. The only difference is you get a longer spring with the, I think it's 12-round magazine, and a different follower base. So you can't take the extended base plate or pinky finger base plate and put it on the longer magazine, or the longer magazine spring. You've got to use that base plate. And then the 10-round magazine, it's just a little bit shorter of a spring, and the single dot or detent base plate. But other than that, the magazines are the same body, which is a pretty interesting idea. Hats off to Ruger for that one. But let's take a look at a few more stages, and we'll come back with the pros and cons. Shit. All right, let's talk about this one. So those are the stages. Some went well, some went not so well. The pros for this one, it's got a decent sight set on it. Blacked out rear sight and a fiber optic front sight. We talked about in the close-up. I'm not sure why they put that. Maybe I know people like the XS big dot thing, and that's what they're going for. But they put this white ring around the fiber optic of the front. Maybe it's a competition thing. I like a smaller front sight, so making the white ring just makes it bigger and makes more, I don't know, covers up more of the target. That sounds dumb, but I don't like it. They're tall though. The sights are tall, so it takes a little bit away on the grip length. The width of the slide, height of the slide is a little tall in general. I know that's ironic coming from the SIG guy, but it's a little tall when we're getting into these little guns. A smaller, something like that. I was really hoping CZ would make something that would fit in the bug box, but I don't think that they do or are going to. getting back to the slide height, after I knocked the camera away, I was hoping CZ would make something that would, a small, and they make the CZ Rammy. Maybe I can get a hold of one of those and try that. That'd be kind of cool. It's made out of metal too, so it's probably heavy. But yeah, it's a little bit high for the bore height on this guy. Lefty friendly, kinda. I'll give it a score of a 1 out of 3. 3 being, of the options that you could have on a gun: a safety, a slide release, and a mag release or slide catch. This has 1 out of 3. You can reverse the magazine release, so you get 1 out of 3. Ruger, step it up. Oh, the mag lengths. That's pretty clever, I thought. So, like we talked about before, these magazine bodies are the same. I mean, there's no difference here. The only difference is the base pad. They kind of took that from competition, if you ask me. The idea of, well, we just need a few more rounds. We don't need to, a longer tube. We'll just make one grip length, one magazine body length, and then add, 2 or 3. So while I was shooting, sorry to everyone who was there, but I loaded this up. So shooting in SPD, which is Specialty Division, and I don't think there's any rules outlined for Specialty Division, so I don't know if I broke a rule with loading. So I loaded this magazine up. I only had these 2 magazines, so it's kind of like loading this up because this holds 10, and that's what I wanted to start with, 10 and 1. And so I would load this up to what I thought was 11, and then put 1 in the chamber, and then as I'm making ready, and then take this magazine and put it in, so that I got 11 to start with, like everybody else, and then 10 left in this one for division capacity. And there was one time where I was pretty sure, maybe I counted wrong, I don't know, but I was I'm pretty sure I'm out of rounds and I'm going to get to the last set of 2 targets and then go 1, 2, 1 and be run dry. And I went 1, 2, 3, 4, and I was I don't know if I put another, I don't know what happened. Maybe I put an extra round in there. I don't know. If I did, I'm a cheater. Everybody can take me down and call me, what's his name? The guy from USPSA who cheated on making Grandmaster. Tony Cowden. You can call me a cheater. More pros. It's red dot ready right out of the box. Optics ready, so that's pretty cool. The only thing, and I'll get to this in the cons, or hell, I'll just talk about it now. It's got the loaded chamber indicator, which sprays gas and junk all back onto your optic. Gun makers, I don't know why we're doing this. Is there a large contingent of people that are I don't know, just have to know? Because you can see almost every gun I have. There's a gap between the barrel and the extractor. You can see silver or brass or whatever. I put a red dummy round in there. I could see that. So I don't understand this. Maybe they get their points on that importation thing for having a loaded chamber indicator, but these are made in America, so I don't know why we have a loaded chamber indicator other than to piss people off and dirty up everyone's optic. So yeah, there's that. The trigger is pretty good. It's as good. This is the best way I could think of to describe it. It's as good as I need it to be. I don't think that if I were to, run this for competition, or I probably wouldn't, but if I were going to, I don't think that I need to play with the trigger or change the trigger at all. I think it's good enough, especially for Bug Division. You don't need to be a whole lot better than that. Getting into the cons, this is probably the most significant con, especially if you're going to conceal carry this. The takedown is super weird and super janky. So this piece right here, you pull it down at some point. So I can't pull it down right now. Oh, nope, yeah, I can. So before I was trying to pull it down, I couldn't do it. But then you pull it back so this half moon lines up with this pin in there, and that pin just falls out. It doesn't you don't got to push it through from the other side. You just got to kind of turn the gun over and go boop, and it just falls out. So this thin piece of plastic here, it popping up and down randomly, if you were shooting and for some reason that thing is down or you forgot to put it back up after you took it down, there's a possibility that that pin walks its way out or falls out, and then your slide might come off, or worse. I don't know what will be worse, but it could happen to you. So who knows? But that's just super janky, I thought. In a world where striker-fired guns have been made for, sounded like a movie trailer. In a world where striker-fired guns have been made for, since the 1980s, there are much better ways to design a slide takedown than that. So Ruger, come on, man. The safety. They make a pro version of this with no safety, but this safety is kind of dumb. I don't think that it. I'm lefty, so it's really dumb because it doesn't really get in the way of anything, but it's really small. It's small enough to ignore it should you want to, but I don't know. I don't think it serves a very, legitimate purpose on a striker-fired gun. It's got the dingus safety like a Glock and all that, so didn't care for it. At one point while I was shooting or making ready, I put the gun in the holster, being a lefty, and the holster, which was a leather, I don't remember, Bianchi leather holster that I found that fit it because I wasn't going to buy a holster to do this. But just putting it in the holster turned the safety on, and I just happened to hear it click. Otherwise, I would have pulled the gun out and not really known why it wasn't firing. So, like I said, I don't really have it's only righty for right-handed people, and I didn't find it to be useful or necessary. I think they could have just made the pro model be what the gun is, like everybody else is. But Ruger, being who they are, traditionally have put a lot of safeties and a lot of verbiage on the gun. Read instruction manual before using firearm. Like, I'll never understand why that needs to be written on the gun. But all right. This one's probably less so. No, I'm lying. Pistol will fire with magazine removed. All right. So I literally just read that after having shot the match and been, handling this gun all week. So nobody's paying attention to that, Ruger. I think you can take it off. But if it helps you sell guns, then cool. As you saw in the stages, there were 2 malfunctions. I think they were more, so the first one, being me and lazy, I just went to the match and pulled it out of the box. The box, speaking of the box, people are really concerned with, like, well, Bryce review, what box did that gun come in? And it's like, I don't know who cares about that, but people always seem to want to know. So it comes in a cardboard box. So if that's troubling to you, I don't know what you use them for, but yeah, cardboard box. 2 malfunctions. I took it out of the box at the range and just put it into that crappy holster and went to the stage to shoot. I didn't lube it at all, and the first stage malfunctioned. And so I was like, well, that's not really the gun's fault because I didn't lube it. The next stage, so I lubed it. Next stage, malfunctioned again. To a lesser extent, it didn't like kick a round out. The first time it kicked a round out, and that kind of stunk. But next time, same sort of malfunction, but it only kicked the shell out. It was kind of like a stovepipe malfunction. And, I was kind of down on it, like, God, what the heck? My other guns don't do this. And then one of my buddies that I shoot with was like, hey, dude, like, it's a brand new gun. Like, it's probably got a break-in period. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's probably right. And on top of that, I was shooting my 108 power factor, 110 power factor ammo. So I think this is, for this purpose, oversprung, because it's probably got a spring in it that's for self-defense loads that are going to be hotter. And so, yeah, it was, and I confirmed this later, because if you, all right, so everything is falling down. Camera's falling, the lights are falling down, everything's falling down today. But anyway, so I confirmed that it was slightly oversprung when if you're holding the trigger, which I generally don't pin the trigger, but a lot of people do, and then just kind of, it doesn't go all the way into battery, and you release the trigger and boom, there it goes. So maybe slightly oversprung. It's probably not a big deal for anybody who's going to shoot it for. I don't expect that people are going to watch this video and then be like, the Ruger Max-9 is great for bug competition, and so I'm going to go get one and do it. Like, that's probably not going to happen. But if you're on a concealed carry budget, I think this is a good option. And so maybe that, I don't think that should be a deterrent for anybody. I think that being sprung heavy is probably good for shooting self-defense rounds. So that just is what it is. Yeah, we already covered the LCI. I don't understand why loaded chamber indicators are a thing. I guess people like them. So overall thoughts on this thing, I don't think it's a gun I would ever trust my life to. Somebody might. I don't think that I'm not going to shoot it anymore. Like, if I were seriously going to consider it for either competition or self-defense, I'd probably shoot it a whole bunch and see how reliable it is with other things. Just having those 2 malfunctions, it's not a big deal, but I put together, like, as you guys know, like 4 or 5 365s, and none of them did that. So it's not that big of a deal. It's just not for me, but maybe it's for you. Who knows? as far as Ruger is concerned, in general, I have a couple of their LCP Maxes, and this appears to be the same finish. I don't know that it is, but the finish on the LCP Max rusted almost immediately. I know I live in Washington, so if you're down somewhere where that isn't, oxidation in your safe isn't a big thing, it's probably not going to happen. But I've taken measures in the safe to keep things like that from happening, but it happened anyway with the Ruger. So if this is the same finish, that might be an issue. Other than that, guys, check out our the playlist for more match reviews. If you have the chance, go to www.dz214.com, where you can donate to all the charities we support. We got veterans charities, and we have a partner with a charity that looks into computers when they're used for child pornography purposes. They find that information and give it to the police. So that is also a very worthy cause. So if you have the time and the means, please check that out and donate to them. The 2023 Washington IDPA State Championship is coming up. I'm the match director. It's going to be awesome. If you have, if you come up to Washington, or if you live in Washington, sign up for it and come, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Other than that, we'll see you in the next one. This later, because if you, what the fuck is going on here today? Okay.